Former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke was in the hallway here. He was here yesterday, I think, doing MSNBC. I said, well, go holler at him, see if he'll drop in on the show. He was on the show previously via Skype. He's here. Sheriff Clarke, how you doing?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, man.
First and foremost, we see what's happening in Las Vegas there. A lot of discussion about gun control. Should there be action taken by Congress to move on guns? Police departments across the country are saying it makes no sense to literally have individuals with this kind of firepower who can wreak havoc on this country.
Sure. First of all, this kind of firepower is already banned in the United States for private citizens. And as human nature goes, someone is always going to find a way. You can make all the laws you want. We have gun control in this country. To pile more gun control on top of that punishes law-abiding citizens. Let me give you an example. There are estimated over 200 million gun owners in the United States of America. Much less than 1% would ever take that instrument and use it in that fashion to slaughter people.
But we have a lot of mass shootings in this country compared to other countries that are similar to us. And when you have, I've talked to a number of folks in law enforcement who say more can be done. They said there can be more advanced background checks. There can be more changes when it comes to gun shows. I mean, these are law enforcement officials who are saying to politicians, y'all have got to do more policy-wise. These are your fellow law enforcement folks.
Well, look, we can have differences of opinion within law enforcement. When I look at some of the stuff that causes the violence in our urban centers, little of it has anything to do with background checks, amounts of ammunition, those sorts of things. So we have to work on the right thing. Every time one of these incidents happen, these unfortunate incidents, I think it's because we're trying to achieve, when I say we, someone's trying to achieve a political end. Right away they go to the NRA, right away they go to more gun control. When, let's look at this situation in Vegas. Right now this investigation's ongoing. There's a long way to go with this. The things that you mentioned, I want to know what role that played in this situation. Like in San Bernardino, like in Orlando, Omar Mateen with the nightclub incident, and any of the other mass shootings. What did it have to do with background checks? The Sikh temple shooting in my county, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, all those people passed a background check. So when we say we need more background checks, we already have that stuff. So what I don't want to end up with is the law of unintended consequences. And what we end up doing is we end up making it harder. We punish people who weren't involved in this thing. In other words, if I go to buy a firearm, and I've done this as a private citizen, it's a very steep hurdle to get to. It's not like you can drop into a 7-Eleven and just buy a firearm.
One second, I got to go to a break, but even the majority of NRA members support advanced background checks as well. So hold tight 1 second. Welcome back, News One Now on TV One. We're joined by former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke. First and foremost, you're now with a PAC that is advancing the Trump agenda. Yesterday he was in Puerto Rico, and he talked about the Puerto Rican debt has gotten lots of criticism because of that, and also going after the Puerto Rican, the San Juan mayor as well. Could he have handled Puerto Rico a heck of a lot better when you have a 3-star general who said on the ground, we don't have enough resources down here to get what needs to be done? Many felt he did not show proper compassion for the folks that are bringing up their debt.
Well, first of all, in political back and forth, there's always these things that are lobbed, Could he have done it better? I'm not going to get into that, okay? He gets blamed for a lot of things no matter what. He cannot, in some circles, he can do nothing right.
Sound like Obama. 8 years with a lot of Republicans who said he couldn't do anything right.
All right, but the Puerto Rican situation, first of all, you had the hurricane come through there and nearly wipe out the island. They're still trying to get the power back on. There's work that needs to be done, and it's going to take some time. And then always when this stuff is thrown into the political realm, these things come up, the Puerto Rican debt, which is an issue.
But at that time, though, to me, it doesn't matter what your debt is. At the end of the day, when you got people who, Congressman Gutierrez was on here, he said they're literally burying folks in their backyard. I don't think anybody right now is talking about debt. I mean, Florida has debt. No one, and I'm from Texas. No one was talking about the debt of Florida and Texas when the hurricane's there.
I don't think they have the debt in Florida like they have in Puerto Rico, but here's the thing. somehow we got to restore power in Puerto Rico. And those people who are responsible for that need to get that done, regardless of all the political back and forth. The mayor of in that area probably could have and should have done some things differently too. So you can say that all around. But the main thing for me is
she was waiting in the water, going door to door, trying to say who anybody's alive. So she was doing some work.
She spent more time before the camera instead of rolling up her sleeves and getting down there and getting some of it. And that's the political environment this has been thrown into now.
Yeah, but she was wading through the water.
Mr. Clarke, I'm glad you're here, man. Listen, if Paddock had yelled Allahu Akbar or said perhaps Black Lives Matter, I think that you, if based on your comments before on both those organizations and others, probably would have said that this was an act of terrorism. So I want to ask you very directly, since the origin of this act in Vegas, was an act of white America, is this an act of domestic terrorism?
The investigation is not done.
No, because if it was Black Lives Matter or Allahu Akbar, you would say terrorism, would you not?
First of all,
would you not, based on what you said before, brother?
You presented me with a hypothetical.
No, not really.
You said if, that's a hypothetical.
Yeah, that's
if
true.
he had done this, but he did not do that.
Well, how about this here? Should we call Steve Paddock a domestic terrorist?
Yes, that's simple.
That's for the authorities in Vegas and the FBI to determine and put a label on what this incident
But Black Lives Matter.
No, I'm just curious. Would you call Paddock a domestic terrorist?
I don't have all the facts of the investigation.
What about Black Lives Matter?
I usually always preface when people ask me about these incidents. I usually start off by saying, first of all, I do not have all the facts. I have not been privy to any of the investigation. So anything that anybody asks me about is supposition. All right, but we could sit up if he had said Allahu Akbar, but he didn't. So to ask me that, if he had said Black Lives Matter or whatever, but he didn't.
So you're
I want to deal with what happened, not what might have happened.
Spencer.
So this debt in Puerto Rico, I just don't understand how it's related to helping them. I mean, I don't think that they're less worthy of help because they have some debt, right?
Sure. Okay, fine. But the fact is that once these things enter a political realm, it goes to crap. It really does. And the charges start being made back and forth. Okay, you want to get hung up on, I don't mean you personally, people want to get hung up on the issue of him bringing up the debt. Okay, fine. But that's not going to help anything from this point moving forward. Power has to be restored. And this country has to be allowed to get back up on its feet.
Literally, I got 40 seconds.
In regards to
for
Vegas,
question and answer.
In regards to Vegas, I agree with the sheriff. The thing about it is, I went to school in Tennessee.
You agree that semi-automatic weapons are fine?
What I'm about to say is,
let's go. I got 30 seconds.
What I'm about to say is, the facts around this case have not been stated. We're all speculating right now as to what took place out there, and until we get the facts, until we get the facts, until we get the facts.
You said that, right?
So
we can't call
you
it
said that, right?
But just like real quick, when the president what happened in London, he immediately called an act of terrorism, and we didn't have all the facts. So a lot of times in America, we do weigh in before we have a full investigation. Got 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Part of the human condition. All right, we jump to conclusions, and I usually caution people about that as well early on, because I've been involved where I was at the tip of the spear on these types of investigations.
Got it.
It's human nature. We're going to do these things, but at some point, cooler heads have to prevail, and that's the role that I have to play when I was a law enforcement executive.
I got to go to break. I want you back on the show. I want to talk Black Lives Matter. I want to talk about the 4 deaths in the Milwaukee County Jail, and I want to talk about the security as well, all of that. So look forward to that conversation, all right?
Count on it.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh, my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no. That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
News One Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.